Let's get into the internal formula. And I ain't doing this to you, but this little baby, this little chart really tells you what Act 51 says. Believe it or not, all of this is in Act 51. It's that specific as to how that money's going to be divvied up amongst all of the all the county road agencies. You'll see the left box over there, the STF. Those are transfers that we talk about. Let's get over here to this slide. And excuse me. This is there's another loose sheet in your folder with the blue trim. This is the Michigan Department of Transportation explanation of how that money gets divvied up. It's very detailed and it's very specific as to how that money's going to get out there. This is my simple chart, just for this purpose. I don't want to overwhelm you. But let's talk about our off the tops. We have off the tops in this program, in our internal distribution. And that STF is State Transportation Fund. That's MDOT's money. They're supposed to be paying us with their dollars for taking over their roads in order to save them a little money. But we want to make sure that we get enough money to maintain it, because we would never build a road to that design standard that MDOT has done. So that's why we call that, I call it a little sweetener, in order to take care of those roads that were being transferred to from MDOT. We have the snow fund, and then we have the engineering stipend. Back in the day, we'll talk about that in a minute. The jurisdictional transfers, those are 36 counties that get that money. We were having a major spat with the department just recently over this money. This was about $6 million that they were not going to pay out, which they have been paying for 30 years. And there are some counties that was almost $1 million that they were paying that county, which was almost 10% of their budget. So them not issuing that transfer money was a big hit to all of these agencies that have accepted MDOT's jurisdiction. That's not just counties, that's cities and villages. We have 36. There's at least 2 dozen cities and villages that have taken jurisdiction over. When you get to the snow payment, this is an old system that was created, and believe me, nobody in Michigan wants to try to duplicate it. It was so complicated and so controversial that it is what it is, and everybody's comfortable with it. They had some standards or some goals that they wanted to reach. They wanted to say anybody who gets over 80 inches qualifies, and based on the rate of the percent of the snow, that makes you an eligible county. So this was a novel idea to try to help those snow counties. And there are some big snow counties, as you can see by the chart, how many inches that they're getting every year on an average. And the check is issued out in November, but it's a specific specific amount of money that goes out to them. We tried to have discussions about how we could redo that, but we're so technical right now and have so much data and information. Where are you going to take the samples from to come up with an average? Are you going to take it from the north end of the county, the south end, east, west, on the snow side? You could really manipulate that process real easy. So we just figured it's just best to leave, lying dogs, and just leave them alone, let them sleep. We're happy with that. Okay, that's the snowfall. Engineering. Back in the day, $10,000 could buy you an engineer. Not anymore. It's just more of a stipend to help with engineering, the engineer himself, or engineering services. You can purchase engineering services, and you have to spend the money to get the money. So you have to apply to the department for that reimbursement for that $10,000. Silly as it seems, that still continues, and we appreciate that. Let's go on to the next part. There's a urban factor, and this is where we get to the urban-rural discussion for all of you that are interested. There's a 10% carve-out for urban factor, and it's not urban counties, it's urban areas. You could have a city like St. John's in Clinton County or Paw Paw here in Kalamazoo County, which are eligible for this money based on density, 1 mile square densities. If you hit that mark, you're eligible for this money. And sometimes the number of candidates or the number of people that are eligible for this will bounce around between the number of eligible candidates. So that is really kind of a slick thing in order to help those urban areas out with their traffic. Again, this is going to be split 75-25 between the primary roads and the local roads. And that's how we define roads. Either a primary road, which is a high traffic volume, or you have a low traffic volume, that's a local road. And those will differ by area. You could have an urban area who has a quota primary road, you gotta have 10,000 cars a day. In a rural area, it's 4,000 cars. But that can fluctuate just depending on your location too. So that's how that 10% goes. They divvy it up that way. Then we also have a local road factor. This is also to kind of balance it out. Let's make sure that we're touching all the bases. Let's give the local road guys a little sugar to make sure that they're taken care of too. And these will come back around. When they get back to the end, you'll see it. Right here is where they come back. It comes back down here to the primary road system. Over there it comes back to the local road system. And there's that 4% that I was just talking about. So you can see that this is as fair can get in order to make sure that we're distributing the money fairly and equitably and transparent as possible. The final distribution right here is where I was talking about population, vehicle registration, and miles of road. The last 85% of that money is divvied up through in these categories. I can go through them for you if you like, but they're in there, and that is the fairness and the unique greatness about this piece of legislation that was intended, that was written back in the 50s, and it's still relevant today.